Okay, YouTube, it's May 21st, just a little past 11 a.m. And I'm waiting on those steering column parts on the 5.5. So there probably won't be much being done in the garage this weekend. But anyway, I've got some other things that I'm working on. Back in, I think it was late December and January, I had bought another Jenny fan. I was actually going to put it down close to the floor, directly underneath the one that we already have here in the garage. And when I got it in, it was junk. I mean, it was pretty rough. I bought it off eBay, and the seller actually said it was lightly used. I mean, I could have fought it probably, but after looking at it, it didn't need much. It needed bearings, and the main part of it was just cosmetic. I knew it was going to have paint on it, but I didn't realize it was going to be as caked up as it was. I'm going to insert the footage that I took way back then, and then I'll bring you back and show you a little bit of update on that. I bought me another fan to install in the garage. And this is a Jenny fan, 16 inch. The one that's in the garage now is it's a Jenny fan also, but it's a 20 inch. Both of these are variable speed. This is a used unit, and it's supposed to be lightly used, but it's used pretty good. It's got some rust there. You can see I've already done some testing on the blasting just to see how pitted the metal was. A little disappointed in this fan. I was hoping this was something that could come in and really be cleaned up, and just cleaned up a little bit. Just maybe wipe some of the excess off of it and install it. But it didn't work out that way. This thing needs some attention before it can be installed. When I got it, the motor, it was seized on it, and that's the fan blades. You can just see just how bad that looks. I mean, and I'm gonna have to probably wet sand these things and get them cleaned up a little bit. But like I said, the motor was seized, and that bearing is what I found. The back one's okay. Luckily the bearings are fairly cheap. This is some of the overspray that has come off of this thing. I mean, it's a disaster. I was able to get the nameplate cleaned up, and got that plate there cleaned up too, the writing and everything. The rest of this I'm going to sand it and put a fresh coat of paint on it. I've got to clean this shaft up, and I got to clean in there. It looks pretty good in here, best I could tell. I'm going to blow all that out, and I got to clean the inside of this out where the shaft goes. That's probably going to be fun. Yeah, I was hoping that thing would be something I could just install. Wasn't really planning on installing it till the spring anyway. The outside of the garage is vinyl, and I didn't want to get into cutting that vinyl just yet. But I got time to get it all cleaned up. Like I said, I didn't really want to put that much work in it, but I believe it's going to be alright in the end. Still got quite a bit of less money in it than what a new one would cost. The Jenny fan, it's 115 volts or 230. It's a variable speed. To be honest with you, we'll probably run this thing. I don't even know if I'm going to put a variable speed controller on it. I'll probably just run it wide open the whole time. The other one's a variable speed, and I run it wide open just about all the time. So we'll probably leave this one wide open. We're going to put it close to the floor, and After that, we can variable speed the one up top. And haven't made my mind up whether or not we're going to do, probably do the 115. At 115 it's 4.6 amps, and at 230 it's 2.3 amps. A little worried about cleaning this off. I didn't want to ruin the tag, but I had some of that fiberglass paint remover left over from the tonneau cover project, and that stuff is real slow, unlike this stuff, which is the potent stuff. So I just put a little bit of that on there and just kept being real careful. I didn't get it all off, and like I said, I didn't want to take a chance in really messing it up. It looks like there was maybe a little bit of a clear coat or something that was just starting to go. So that's kind of about where I stopped at. I mean, I just want to be able to get it to where it was readable. The fan I got has overspray on it, and that's what it's for. I mean, but the difference is I've got that filter bank in front of mine, so the pretty much the overspray that is on mine, you could take an air hose and just blow it off. I mean, it's nothing like this stuff is just stuck to it. I mean, this stuff is just caked on. Did put it in my blast cabinet just for a moment, and you can see it did blast it. That thing is going to be a fun piece to blast. Probably what I'm going to do is take that paint stripper, the good stuff, put on it, because that is powder coated. I'm going to let it eat, and then I'll take a big blaster out there, strip it down. And I've got some other parts for the car to do to get ready for epoxy. So I'll just work that in with it, and maybe by springtime we'll be ready to go on that. The bearings, I found them pretty cheap, and they're about, I've seen them anywhere from a couple dollars to $5 a piece, depending on what brand name you went with. So yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown, but in the end it's going to be okay. Okay, we're back, and so what I've decided to do is I've got so many irons in the fire here that I went ahead and I sent that thing up to my powder coater, and I had him work on it for me, and he went ahead and stripped it with stripper, and he got it all cleaned up and put a fresh coat of powder coat on it, and it turned out looking really nice. I was real happy with it. But let me show you the frame and everything and what it looks like now, and then we'll show you a few other things. So this is the Genie fan that's currently in the garage right now, and you guys can see I have this filter bank over it. And it catches just about most of the overspray. I mean, it's got some overspray on it, but like I said, you could turn it on, take an air hose, and blow it off. Those filters work really good. You see just the paint that fell just from that, but you can see it's just dust. Once it goes through those filters, it pretty much dries in those filters. It's not really a John Kerry day today. It's been raining here for the last week, probably a couple weeks. Now here is the housing, and I'm just very pleased with the way this turned out. And there's the guard. This is some type of, I don't know the exact color, but it's a copper vein powder. I'm really pleased with that. I just love the way that turned out. That's pretty much what you'll see. Actually, you won't even see that. You'll just see the motor once I get the filter bank installed. Overall, really happy with it. Like I said, I was hoping this thing would just come in, we could clean it off a little bit and put it in the wall, but I'm still going to be okay on it by the time I get it cleaned up and everything. I'll still have considerably less than what I paid for that other one. Okay guys, we're down here in what I call the shop area. And some time ago I did clean that shaft up on that motor where it was all rusty. And I pulled those bearings off. And I went ahead and I actually, this piece here, I glass beaded in the cabinet. That's kind of what I'm thinking about working on today, is the rest of this motor and this fan. Thought about trying to lightly blast some of this with glass beads, see if we couldn't clean it up. Same thing on this motor housing, see if we can't get it looking a little bit better. Probably try to put some duct tape around this edge here and hopefully see how it comes out. But anyway, that's what I'm going to work on, and I'll bring you back when I have a little bit more to show. Well, YouTube, it's been raining again, so I ain't able to do no blasting outside right now. About the time I get all that set up, it'll start raining again. The blast cabinet here has aluminum oxide in it, and it is really about wore out. The aluminum in there, I don't know what grit it was. It may have been 50 grit at one time, but I mean it's about wore out. I've got a little bit here. It's about wore out as well. And I was going to use it on the motor there. But what I decided to do is I cut the pressure down to about 60 pounds, which is a lot lower than I usually run the cabinet. I'm usually up around close to 100. You can see there, compressors, the input's about almost 130. And coming out of the regulator, I'm at 60. So I went ahead and I took this little gear here, and I mean I just lightly blasted that paint off, and it actually come really clean. I'm not sure if I'm going to put any paint back on that or not. It's supposed to be red so you can identify the tooth. It's a 17 tooth gear. I thought about just taping up the inside and putting some of that red epoxy on it. I might do that. I don't know if it would hurt just to leave it like that. Anyway, I'm working on this fan, and it's coming clean. It had a lot of build up on it, and I just put it in the blast cabinet there, and of course I've just really lightly blasted it. I mean, not much at all really. And you can see this build up here. The blaster wouldn't do nothing with that, so I'm having to just knock it off by hand. I mean, that's how much this thing has been used. And it's coming clean. So I'm going to continue with that, and then I'll put it back in the cabinet and just go around all this. And just trying to get a few things done. So I'll bring you back when I have a little bit more. More rain, guys. Been hit or miss all day. Decided to go ahead and put the housing in the blast cabinet here, and that's kind of the way I've been doing it. And like I said, I've got the pressure back down quite a bit. This housing, the casting of it's pretty rough. You can see all these little divots in it. But that's okay. Mainly just wanted to blast it because it had so much buildup in places that I couldn't sand. And coming clean. Got a little bit more to do. I'm not going to finish it today, that's for sure. Still got to do the top. But this is my last blast nozzle. And you can see it's pretty much wore out. You can see down here on the end it's starting to go. And I'm afraid to blast with it anymore. I'm afraid it'll start eating into the inside of the gun there. So that's probably where I'm going to stop. And like I said, I'll get one of these on order. I use the medium. So we'll get one of those on order. And we'll get back to blasting it. Maybe the weather will be nicer then.